morning. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm at school. I got here before they canceled, so what the heck. Just get some work done here. So I need you to get your notes out. We're going to finish up our notes today for 3.6. So please get your notes out. And page 39, we have a couple of formulas here that we need to talk about. You do not need to memorize these formulas. On page 39, we have the FV, future value, and the PV, present value. You do not need to memorize these formulas. They will be given to you. However, you do need to know when to use these formulas. Yesterday, we talked about when we use the two we have to memorize, which are PERT and the compound interest formula. These you have to memorize. Okay, those are memorized. We did a bunch of problems yesterday where they were appropriate. Now we're going to see what's different about these new formulas, FV and PV. So I'm going to go through what all those letters mean as we do problem number 9. Carlos purchases a new pickup truck. What are the monthly payments? Stop right there. When you see the word payments, when payments are involved, whether you're paying out or paying in, whether you're paying off a car or paying into your retirement account, if you are making payments, you will use either FV or PV. That is the difference. FV and PV are only financial formulas. They're only money, and they involve making payments of some kind. These do not involve making payments. This formula right here says I go down to the bank and give them $100. I wait a while, how much do I end up with? I do not go to the bank every month and make a payment. If I were going to the bank every month and making a payment, I would be using FV or PV. They are payment formulas. All right? I'm going to say that one more time. If the problem involves making payments, and that word will probably 99% of the time be present, that word will be there. He makes payments on his truck. What are my mortgage payments? What are my payments for my college loan? When you are making payments, you are doing FV or PV. No problem that we did yesterday involved payments. And so the problems we did yesterday, we use these formulas for. All right, so here we go. Carlos, we have to figure out what his monthly payment is for a 4-year loan. Now, if we are paying off a debt, we use PV, present value, if we are paying off a debt. If we are saving for the future, like, well, it's kind of late for me now, but back when I was a young teacher, saving for retirement, saving for the future, making a payment every paycheck into my retirement account, that's FV. So if you are saving for the future, making payments for the future, it's future value, FV. If you are paying off a debt, you bought a car, now you got to pay it off. If you're paying off a car loan, a house loan, a credit card loan, if you are paying off a debt, it's PV. all right? Guys, it couldn't be any clearer than that. So, paying off a debt, PV. Saving for the future, FV. As long as we are doing payments. We do not use these formulas unless we are making payments, okay? This formula saves for the future, but I'm not making payments. I make a one-time deposit. Keep that straight. Okay. All right, so Carlos, okay, so he's paying off a loan, so I'm going to use PV. So I'm going to write that formula down. All right, so there's my PV formula. All right, now R is the payment amount. So that is what I'm actually looking for. PV is the present value of the loan. So how much did Carlos borrow? Now you got to be careful. He bought the truck for $18,500, but he made a $2,000 down payment. So he actually only borrowed $16,500. It's a 4-year loan, making monthly payments, and the interest rate is 2.9%. Okay, in this formula, it's a little bit different. I is the interest, but it's the interest per month, monthly payments. So I is going to be 0.029 divided by 12. So in this formula, both of these formulas, FV and PV, the interest rate, is adjusted in this case monthly, okay? That I is the same as this I. And now I got to raise this parentheses right here to the negative n. N is the number of payments. So this is a 4-year loan, monthly payments. So n is 48, or in this formula, negative 48. Now, get your calculators out. We need to type this in. Now, I will go through the way I do it. Now, remember, I have an old calculator, all right? So, you guys with newer calculators, this might be easier to type in for you than it is for me. So, if you have a newer calculator and you are comfortable typing this, I'm only typing in this guy right here, this thing right here. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I'm going to type it in, oops. I'm going to do 1 minus parentheses, 1 plus 0.029 divided by 12, close the parentheses, raised to the negative 48. Now I'm going to hit equals, so I'm going to get my numerator. And then I'm going to do divided by parentheses 0.029 divided by 12. So whatever you're doing, this guy right here, I'm writing this down so you can see it, but I'm not going to write it down. I'm going to keep it on my calculator. But this right here should be 45.269 something. Not writing it down, it's right here on my calculator, no need to write it down. Alright, so on your calculator, if you can make fractions on your calculator, I can't do that on mine. If you can do that on yours, type that in and make sure this is what you get. If that is not what you got, then I want you to stop and go through just what I did, press the buttons I tell you to press, and you will get this answer, okay? So here we go. I'm doing just this part. So I'm going to type 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.029 divided by 12, close parentheses, raised to the negative 48th power, equals, then divided by parentheses 0.029 divided by 12. And that's what you get. No matter what kind of calculator you have, if you type that in, you will get the right answer. Okay? If you still missed it, stop this video, rewind, type exactly the buttons I told you to press, and you'll get that number. Okay? Now, I am trying to figure out what R is. So don't I need to take 16,500 and divide it by that? So I'm going to press 16,500 divided by second answer. And the answer button is right above your negative sign. And that will pull this number down into that spot. And the answer is $364.49. So one more time, I have already typed this in. This number is sitting on my calculator. I need to divide this by this. So I type 16,500 divided by second answer equals. Some of you with the newer calculators, you can copy and paste, so feel free to do that. Feel free to paste this number into the division. That's fine. Second answer accomplishes that on the older calculators. Okay, let's move on. Problem number 10. First thing you got to do is figure out which formula we're going to use. Okay, so let's read it. At the end of each quarter, Emily makes a $500 payment into a fund. If her investments earn this much interest compounded quarterly, what will be the value of Emily's annuity in 20 years? Okay, is Emily making payments? Yes. Therefore, it's FV or PV. Which one isn't? FV, because Emily is saving for the future. So we're going to use our FV formula this time. And our FV formula is R 1 plus I to the nth minus 1 over I. Okay? Now, all the letters mean the same thing. So R is the payment amount. And we know Emily is making a $500 payment. Now, just like in the PV formula, I is the interest rate adjusted for the time period. So, her interest rate is 0.0788, but it's quarterly. So we are dividing 0.0788 by 4. This is problem number 10. Quarterly. She is going to do this 4 times a year, quarterly, for 20 years. So N is 80. N is the total number of payments made. And of course, that I'm going to type this in exactly like I did the last one. So I'm going to type in this big parentheses right here, okay? So I'm going to type parentheses 1 plus 0.0788 divided by 4, close the parentheses, raise to the 80th power minus 1, and hit equals. Then I'm going to divide that by parentheses 0.0788 divided by 4. So this time, this came out to be 190.96 something. I'm not rounding it off. I'm just writing it down so you have a point of reference. So hopefully that's what you got. If not, we'll go through it one more time. Parentheses 1 plus 0.0788 divided by 4, close parentheses, raised to the 80th, minus 1. Hit equals. Now I got my numerator. So I'm going to divide that. So hit equals, divided by parentheses, 0.0788 divided by 4. There it is. Now this time, I'm looking for FV, so all I need to do is take that number times 500, and the value of her account will be $95,483.39. That will be the value of her account. So we have done a PV and we have done an FV. They're very, very similar. You'll have the formulas given, you just plug in the numbers. All right, so here we go. Number 11. Told you. Okay. Number 11. Jendo obtains an $86,000 house loan. What is her monthly payment? So it's one of these formulas. It's a loan that she has to pay off, so it's PV. Okay, so using this formula. The loan is for $86,000. We don't know what her payment is. We're trying to find the payment. The interest rate is 0.0875 divided by 12 because she is making monthly payments. So we take her interest rate and divide it by 12. In the last one, we took the interest rate and divided it by 4 because that problem was quarterly. Problem 10 was quarterly. So we took the interest rate divided by 4. Now we're taking the interest rate divided by 12. Okay, how many payments is she making? She's making 30 years of payments. So N is 360. So negative 360. And then over 0.0875 over 12. So this is just like the one we did before. If you look at the situation, don't you need to take 86,000 and divide it by this? So for me, it's easier to get this, and then I just do 86,000 divided by that answer. So that's how I'm going to do it. You do it however you're comfortable. Let's just make sure we get the same answer. So mute me. If you know how to type it, mute me. If not, listen. This is what I'm going to type in. 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.0875 divided by 12, close parentheses, raised to the negative 360 360 equals divided by parentheses 0.0875 divided by 12. And this works out to be 127.11. But that is not the answer. Don't write that down. I need to take 86,000 divided by second answer. And her payments, or his payments, whatever we got going on here, is $676.56. So again, if you're not getting that answer, you're going to stop the video, you're going to back it up, and you're going to type exactly what I tell you to type. Because kids, if you type exactly what's written here, you can't go wrong. Don't try to get fancy and tricky, just type it in. All right, number 12. Joelle is investing $8,000 into an interest rate, compounded monthly. How long will it take until this single payment has grown in her account to $16,000? Boys and girls, we are not using FV or PV. Which formula are we using? She is not making regular payments. She's going down to the bank, handing them $8,000 compounded monthly, and she wants to end up with $16,000. We are using that formula. So 16,000 equals 8,000. Her interest rate is 0.09. Oh man, we wish, don't we? Compounded monthly. And we want to know how many years she's going to have to wait. So again, we're using one of yesterday's formulas because Joelle is not going down to the bank every month and giving them money. She walked in one day and she's going to come back at some point years later and have $16,000 in the account. Okay, step one. Let's divide by that 8,000. Now, I know this might bother some of you, and I just checked, and we can actually do that division if you want. This is optional. I personally wouldn't take the time to do it, but if this bothers you, you can type this in. Now, when can you not? You cannot round this off. This one works out finitely, it stops. So I'm going to go ahead and allow, I mean, that's fine to do that if you wish. I would just leave it like this myself. But if you want to do this, that's fine. Either way, we got a problem. We got to get this exponent down. Can't solve for it when it's up here. So we're going to take the log of both sides, and that will pull that exponent off. So the log of 2 equals 12t log 1.0075 or log that parentheses. Right? Now, this is what you're solving for. So aren't we going to have to do 2 divisions? Aren't we going to have to divide by 12 and divide by the log of that decimal? So I'm going to take log 2, of course I'm going to close those parentheses, and I'm going to divide by 12. Okay, so I just divided by 12. Then I'm going to divide by the log, another division, 2 divisions. So log 2 divided by 12 divided by log 1.0075. And the answer is, it's going to take 7.73 question was, when should she go back and get her $16,000? She goes back in 7.73 years. All right, number 13. Erica, what is Erica's monthly payment for a 3-year, $4,500 car loan with an annual interest rate of 10.25% from County Savings Bank? Which formula? She's paying something off, so she's going to use PV. So we're going to do our PV formula. So there it is. Here we go. We know that she owes $4,500, so that's the present value. It's $4,500. We do not know her payment. We know her interest rate is 0.1025 monthly, so 0.1025 divided by 12, and we're raising that, how many, she's doing this for 3 years, so 36, negative 36. Remember, that is the total number of payments. What we've got. I'm going to type this in right here. So 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.1025 divided by 12, close parentheses, raised to the negative 36 equals, divided by, remember, if you're dividing by a fraction, you got to put it in parentheses, divided by parentheses, 0.1025 divided by 12. So this came out to be 30.87. So 4,500 divided by that answer, so second answer. And the payments are $145.73. Number 14. Amy contributes $50 per month into this thing. What is the value after 25 years? What is the future value of her account? So we want to find the future value. She is making $50 payments. Her interest rate is 0.0726. And it is monthly, so we'll divide that by 12. She is going to do this 12 times a year for 25 years. So that is 300. So 300 positive, 300 minus 1, 0.0726 divided by 12. Okay? So we're just going to type that in and see what we come up with. I wait on the 50. This is what I'm going to type in. I'm going to type in this parentheses right here. So I wait on the 50. I do my parentheses first. So parentheses, 1 plus 0.0726 divided by 12. Close the parentheses, raise to the 300th, and subtract 1. And then divide that by parentheses 0.0726 divided by 12. And this came out to be 844.22 something. Just take it times 50. And her account will be worth $42,211.46. exactly like number 14. It's exactly like the one we just did. So we're going to be using our FV formula. We want to know the value of the account. He's doing $50 a month. His interest rate, 0.155 divided by 12. 20 years, 12 times a year, 240. He's doing it for less time, but he's got a hugely bigger interest rate. Let's see what's in his account. So again, I'm going to do my parentheses first. You can do whatever you want. Parentheses 1 plus 0.155 divided by 12. Close parentheses, raised to the 240th, minus 1 equals, divided by, parentheses, 0.155 divided by 12. Wow, this is 1607. Times 50. So he's got $80,367.70. He earned almost twice as much, which makes sense because his interest rate was twice as much. But remember, he was doing it for a few less years. But he still did great on his investment. All right, my friends. We are going to have a little quiz coming up. So what I would like for you to do right now is get out, I was going to hand this out. I'll try to get it loaded into Canvas later on. But just get out a piece of paper. I'll write the problems down and we will go through them together on our little practice quiz. But I will try to get this into Canvas for you. The quiz does not have any word problems on it. Okay? No word problems. We did a practice quiz yesterday as kind of review. We're going to do a few more review problems now. And our quiz will be on Thursday. I see you Thursday. The 3-6 homework is due Thursday. And we will have a quiz on Thursday. Over, not word problems. No word problems on the quiz. So you need to do two things for me as you prepare for this quiz. You need to look at the work we did yesterday, which was on the back of your review packet. We did this practice quiz yesterday. And then we have that recap. I've got it somewhere, but you've got it. That recap sheet that we have kind of been doing a couple problems every day for a while. You need to know how to do all of those. I think there's 7. You need to know how to do all of the recap problems. Okay? And then here are some additional practice. So this is problem 2 on the practice. Problem 1 says make sure you can do the recap. 2A says okay, so problem 2A. Log base x of 9 equals -2. Solve. Solve. No calculator. Solve. So hopefully you're loop-de-looping. So x to the -2nd equals 9. This means 1 over x squared that's 1 over x squared equals 9. So if I cross multiply and divide and square root, x equals 1/3. Because 1/3 to the negative second is 9, because it flips over and gets squared. Now, I went through all of the algebra. Some of you look at this and say, oh, it's got to be 1/3, and you are right, and that is fine. I did all of the step-by-step for those of you that can't make this connection. All right, next, you're writing these down on a piece of paper so that you can practice them again on your own. Solve the equation. No calculator. First thing you notice is this guy, and you know he is an exponent. So this is the log of 2 cubed, which is 8, minus the log of x equals 2. This coefficient becomes an exponent. This is a no-no. No. We cannot have 2 logarithms on the same side. So this is going to be the log of 8 over x equals 2. This becomes a division because that's a subtraction. Now what? Loop-de-loop. We have a base of 10. So 10 to the second equals 8 over x. So 100 equals 8 over x. 100x equals 8. And x equals 8 over 100, which reduces to 2 over 25. And there is your answer. There's a lot going on in that problem. It's easy. There's a lot going on. Make sure you can go through those steps on your own. All right, problem C. That was B. Sorry. Next problem. You're writing down the problems. Log base 4, x plus 1, minus log base 4. Again, we are solving, and again, there's no calculator. Don't need one. What's step 1? Gotta put them together. So log base 4, x plus 1 over x minus 2. This becomes a division because it's a minus again. If that had been a plus, we'd be multiplying these, foiling them. So 4 squared equals x plus 1 over x minus 2. 16 equals x plus 1 over x minus 2. 16x minus 32 equals x plus 1. 15x equals 33, so it looks like x equals 33/15. All right, one more like that. Same exact kind of problem, only this time we have a plus, which means when we put put them together, they're going to be multiplied. So when we put them together, we're going to get 6x minus 3. Because we've multiplied this time because that's a plus. Loop-de-loop. 7 to the first equals 6x minus 3. 7 to the first is just 7, so I'll add 3. Divide by 6. So it looks like my answer when I reduce it is 5/3. So we just did 3 problems, pretty much all the same. Plenty of practice there. Okay. Now, here are some other ones. So ln cube root of 7 or base 7 of 5. All right. Give me a second to get those written down. This problem is an absolute no-brainer if you remember that a cube root is a 1/3 power. This says ln e to the 1/3. Cube roots, radicals are fractional exponents. A cube root is a 1/3 power. Now you have an ln and an e back to back, so the answer to the problem is simply 1/3. Not e to the 1/3, it's 1/3, because the e part canceled out. 1/3. Here's another one. When these two numbers match, that's the answer. So the answer is 5. That's one of the properties we talked about a long time ago, or at the beginning of all this. Done. Done. This one's going to require a little bit more work. Yeah, we don't have a calculator, so I'm not going to do that one, because this is going to be a no calculator quiz, no word problems, no need for a calculator. So forget that one. And let's look at this one. Okay, no calculator. All right. Hopefully, as you were writing it down, something occurred to you. Hopefully, it occurred to you that 9 and 27 are both powers of 3. So we will write 9 as 3 squared, still has the x, and we'll write 27 as 3 cubed, still has the 4x plus 1. As soon as that's the case, as soon as you've got 3 to a power, 3 to a power, you can solve the equation made from the exponents. So 2x equals 12x plus 3. This is a distribute. So negative 10x equals 3, and x equals negative 3/10. So the key to that problem is making the bases the same. If you don't have a calculator, that's the only thing you can do. So tomorrow, when you get your quiz paper, look at the two numbers and make the bases the same. Might not be 3, it might be 2 or 5 or something, but make the bases the same. All right. This one says right, as a single logarithm. So in other words, we're going to have the log base 6 of one thing. So one logarithm, take all that mess and put it together. Okay. So first thing I hope you recognize is that these guys out in front are actually exponents. So this is the log of x to the 5th. This is the log of y to the 3rd. And this is the log of z squared. These two are being subtracted. So doesn't that mean I'm going to have x to the 5th over y cubed? And then that one is being added, so he's being multiplied. Do not put him in the denominator. The only way he would go to the denominator is if this were in parentheses and you were subtracting the whole thing. You're not. You're subtracting the y, but you're adding the z. So the x and the z are multiplied, and the y is divided. And there it is. That's the answer. You have taken this big long thing, and you've written it as one logarithm. Here's another equation to solve. This one just has a little bit more to it, but it's easy. What's going to be the first thing? We're solving this equation. First thing we're going to do is, hopefully, subtract 3. So we're going to subtract this 3 from both sides. And then what are we going to do? Divide by the negative 2. We never want to have a number out there, so we're going to divide that. And then what are we going to do? Loop-de-loop. So 6 to the negative 1st equals x plus 2. Oh no, you don't have a calculator. You're going to have to deal with this. 6 to the negative 1st is what? 1/6. So x plus 2 equals 1/6. Now I got to subtract 2. So x equals 1/6 minus 12/6 negative 11/6, or negative 1 5/6, if that makes more sense to you. It doesn't make any difference, they're the same. All right, one more. Step 1, I hope you're all shouting, divide by 6, divide by 6. So 4 to the x minus 3 equals 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Remember, all that does is cancel that. It doesn't change anything else. Now we're right back to where we were a minute ago. What is special about 4 and 8? 4 and 8 are both powers of 2. So 4 is 2 squared, and 8 is 2 cubed. As soon as these guys match, then your equation is just the exponents. So 2x minus 6, that's a distributive, equals 3. So 2x equals 9, and x equals 9. So practice the quiz that we did yesterday, the last page of your review sheet, the very back side, that you got yesterday. look at that recap 3132 sheet that we've been kind of methodically working through, and look at review these problems right here that we just did, and that's what your quiz is going to be. Now, I can't remember if there's calculator problems on that recap sheet. There is no calculator on tomorrow's quiz. So, if it's a calculator problem, don't worry about it on tomorrow's quiz. Just make sure you have all of the no calculator stuff down pat. Okay? And 3-6 homework is also due on Thursday. So I want to make sure I don't see you tomorrow. I don't. Okay. All right. Have a great day. Stay safe and warm.